Last week, yeah, that one was a week to forget, but we're right back at it in the LTM. As I said, our season is over, but we're playing for as much pride as we can. Clearly, we're not putting our best foot forward at all times in the end of this season, but hey, a little misstep. Hopefully that's all it is. We're playing against OG Albino this week. If you're excited for today's video, make sure to subscribe if you have not already. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers this year. Would really appreciate if you could help me out towards that goal. Got a lot of cool draft league content coming up to end the year, taking a little bit of a different approach. A lot of tournament stuff coming up, so a lot to get excited for. So we're playing against OG Albino. Quick little team introduction. He has got a very, very powerful team. He's got Crocodile. Shout out to O, and he always gets that freaking Pokemon whatever league he plays in. The real Pokemon to watch out for here is Tera Gallade. That Pokemon is a problem for me. I struggle with the fighting types in general on this team. I have like an okay fighting resist in Talonflame. The problem is that Tera Psycho Cut like just completely nukes that Pokemon. And Talonflame also like struggles to actually like do something productive with its turn against a team with Moltres and Blastoise. So that's really difficult for my team to manage. We're going to have to attack that Pokemon offensively. Something like Choice Scarf is obviously very powerful here. Maybe even Choice Band. The problem is that lets you get revenge killed by like Shadow Ball, Monkey Dory. Lots of possibilities here. But that Pokemon's going to be the biggest problem this week. Sinistra, we make an interesting choice on our Tera. I waffle about it in the game, but we'll get to it in a second here. But yeah, that's kind of where this game all comes down to. I think realistically, if you took the Gallade off the team and put like a different Tera captain in, I think my matchup is a little bit better actually into this team than previewed. But Tera Gallade, yeah, we just get ourselves kind of bodied by that Pokemon, unfortunately. Tera Gligar and Tera Vivillon, I think Vivillon just can't come. It just doesn't make a lot of sense into this team. Then Tera Gligar, it has a lot of interesting stats that I will give it credit for, because my defensive Pokemon, if you run Tera Water, can actually put me under pressure. But we expect the Tera to be on the Gallade basically at all times, because that's what it's there for, right? To just smoke my team. So let's get into the matchup in my team. We have Chocolate Berry, Goodra, Hisui. I considered something like on this set, like you can't run Roar, but you can run like Dragon Tail to phase it out. That was a consideration, but I figured Chocolate Berry, Drop a Draco, puts Gallade into range of Choice Scarf, Monkey Dory, which is probably about the best I'm going to be able to do in this matchup. And the item on this Pokemon is kind of not really relevant. I considered Shukaberry for the longest time to bait the Crocodile, but I figured if I want to bait a Pokemon, I'd prefer to bait the Gallade than the Crocodile here. The coverage moves are pretty obvious. I don't think Florges will come, but we have Heavy Slam instead of Flash Cannon for that Pokemon. Draco Meteor is pretty spammable, honestly, into this team outside the Florges, which we Heavy Slam, so that's actually a really good click for us into a lot of these turns. Thunderbolt gives us a positive click into Blastoise. It doesn't require us to go -2 special attack. And then Body Press is like good in terms of like punishing aggressive switch-ins into something like the Crocodile. And I mainly had this because I had Shukaberry before, but there's going to be opportunities where I think he wants to get aggressive with the Crocodile or use this as a free Rocks turn. And if I can get the read right, this is going to do a lot of damage to that Pokemon. But really, like, the two moves we're clicking here are Draco and Thunderbolt, and the other two there for some niche situations. Tera Bug, Sinistra. Look, I know there's a Moltres here, and I think what I should have done with this set is probably go Nasty Plot and Fairy. But the idea with this set was I was initially Fairy, and it's like the Tera typing was really hard to nail down, and we tested against Steel Gallade here coming into this battle, and that made me really nervous to kind of use Tera Fairy on the Sinistra in this battle. And I kind of went to Bug, I want to say forgetting the Moltres, kind of understanding that risk and thinking it's like, well, I can still push through a lot of damage on that Pokemon, and I think with the Bug plan, we should have pivoted to Nasty Plot because it would have been able to pick up some KOs on the Moltres as we were expecting. So a little bit of hindsight here in the builder. Obviously, I do these team builders after I play. So a little bit of hindsight. So a little bit, I'll be honest about the mistake here. But I think this set is still really, really decent against this team. He's got a lot of things that actually play well into the Sinistra. But all we need to do is like break through Crocodile. We can break through Gligar a decent amount with this set with the Macha Gotcha and Strength Sap and set up on that Pokemon. Obviously, you could phase this out, but we'll be able to get a lot of damage on that Pokemon. So this does make a lot of progress, though this set is a lot weaker to Moltres than I probably would have liked in this battle. Talonflame Boots, this is kind of just a Willow Spam. Willow Spam was actually pretty good in this matchup against Choice Scarf Crocodile, locked into Earthquake, good into Gallade. And then Willow, like random Pokemon like Blastoise, Electros, and stuff. Actually, we'll definitely not appreciate getting Will-O-Wisp. And then we have Hurricane and Flamethrower. This gives me 2 coverage moves to hit the Gallade. So Hurricane will hit Gallade without Tera if he decides to Tera his Gligar, if he somehow forced that. Flamethrower obviously hits Tera Steel, which is really nice, one of the expected typings. So Psychic is obviously really powerful as well. And then Hurricane, this gives me coverage moves as well for something like the Superior, allows me to hit the Moltres. This is mainly, honestly, just a way to help me check the Gallade with my speed. Obviously, you know, it could be Choice Scarf, but otherwise, it'll give me that opportunity there. My rocker is Mudsdale this week. Roar, obviously important for the Gallade. The Gallade could be a typing for the Mudsdale, though I expected to just try to bump up one of its stabs, realistically. But this is going to be my rocker. Rocks are going to be nice. Obviously, my opponent has the Blastoise, which is a pretty good spinner here. A spinner that does pressure my team a decent amount, but rocks will be super nice to help pressure a lot of his kind of more defensive pieces, like the Electros and the Crocodile. And then Earthquake Body Press, just coverage moves for that Crocodile, while also pressuring Pokemon that I want to switch in, like the Superior or the Blastoise. The way that I expect to probably win this game in the end is Choice Scarf Monkey Dory. It's been a common way for us to win the game. This obviously requires Chip on the Gallade and the Crocodile to be basically dead, which are 2 things that I think are relatively realistic in a path that I actually win this battle. Crocodile is going to come in and, you know, have to take a lot of damage from stuff like Sinistra, potentially the Talonflame, the Mudsdale, the what's it called, the Frostlass. There's a lot of opportunities for Crocodile to go down in this battle. And then Gallade just has to take a little bit of chip, which, as I said, is very possible. We have a lure here with the Goodra Hisui. We have, you know, very fast Talonflame. We have Mudsdale, which can drop an Earthquake instead of rocks and stuff. So lots of ways to actually damage those 2 Pokemon, which opens up a really solid win condition for us in this battle. I went for Focus Blast as a way to hit the Crocodile. I could have considered something like a Shadow Ball to hit the Gallade, but I figured that the typing, you know, with the Steel typing, I figured worst case, if you bring something, you know, this set's best move to hit it with a Sludge Wave. That does about half, so I'm realistically good with that in the end. And then final mod is Custap Berry Frostlass. Kind of struggle with the item here a little bit, but Custap Berry allows me to get a quick Destiny Bond off if I need to. Willow Spam obviously still really good in this matchup. And then Triple Axle is probably the best move to hit my opponent's team here with, given the Pokemon on his team. So that's all we have for week 8 of the of LTM. Thank you, I think, Willow Rush for the mocks this week, and we'll get right into it. So the battle is here. Owen has brought Tera Psychic Gallade, Tera Water Gligar. We tested against Tera Steel Gallade, which was pretty good into my team, and that's why I have Tera Bug, Sinistra instead of Fairy. Though I think Tera Psychic was kind of one of the more broken typings possible. I'm going to lead with Choice Scarf Monkey Dory, because it's going to get me into the game the easiest here against Owen. Good luck, have fun to Owen. The only thing that could outspeed this Pokemon is the Tauros and the Superior, which were left behind. So we're going to lead with the Electros here. They're likely just trying to get a Volt Switch off here. If I had to guess, I'm just going to U-turn, keep this thing as simple as possible. Hopefully get a Toxic off here. That would be pretty nice, right? He could make some sort of other play. You know, there's a million different possibilities that could happen on this turn. As I said, the whole purpose of this lead is to U-turn and just get ourselves into the game as quickly as we can. We get a U-turn off. Let's see if we can get a Poison. We get a Toxic. Nice. That's good off the rip. You know, we'll take a little bit of that. And we get Rocky Helmet. That was kind of one of the main things I wanted to look for, right? Is like, is this guy Rocky Helmet or not? So this is Electros, defensive pivot with Rocky Helmet. So there's like a few different paths that he can take this down. Like, I mean, he could go for the Volt Switch. He could go for the knockoff. I think there's just a lot of options that he could go for. And I'd like to take the option for myself that maybe gets me my Stealth Rocks out. No, he could just have Giga Drain or something. I think my play was to always just go into the Goodra Hisui here. I could lose an item, of course. That would be a little bit obnoxious, but this is Rocky Helmet. And he's going to go for the Volt Switch. So I could have blocked the Volt Switch, which obviously would have been very, very nice. But the problem is, I think he's going to Grass move there the next turn. And while I could have gotten this Pokemon in, that, you know, it would have been nice. A lot of things I could think about there. Aggressive Grass move. Knock, like, I guess if I go in there, I get this in for free and a free click, but he's going to get a free move into his Crocodile, which is pretty good for him. Luckily for me, we had the Mudsdale. And with this being Psychic, it's pretty tough for my... What's it called? It's pretty tough for me to actually position this now against the Gallade. Gallade's going to be really problematic this battle, and in comes a knockoff, so that is going to be a lot of damage. That's going to be 126 on my Mudsdale from the Crocodile. Let's go into that. So that's going to give us some good information on what type of set this is looking to be. This looks to be Jolly 252. Very, very simple set. No need to overcomplicate things. I think there's a high likelihood that Owen just wants to go into his Blastoise here, if I had to guess. I could just body press to either guarantee the damage. I could get my Stealth Rocks and Spin Block, though, with the Sinistra. That's something that hasn't really happened a lot in this battle, or in this season. We haven't really Spin Blocked a lot with our Sinistra. So let's go into that Pokemon, get the Spin Block off, and we'll be feeling pretty good about that, I think. He could obviously get aggressive and like attack me with the special, with the move there. Like if I go into Blastoise, Ice Beam is doing a lot here. Ice Beam is doing a little bit more than I guess would have initially had hoped. But I can just go, I think if he just Rapid Spins right, I can just go Goodra and I can just get a Draco Meteor off. So I'm actually good with that. This is going to give me a free turn into the Goodra Sui to get offensive pressure up. Man, it is so nice to be able to play this game on the Switch too. It looks just so much better. And there you go. Yeah. Oh, and just goes for the move, trying to predict that. What's it called? Predict the. God, I can't speak right now. Predict the Sinistra. Kind of what we figured, but we get this in. We get a Freaker Draco Meteor. He's going to Rapid Spin. Really want to hit this Draco because that puts this Pokemon at low HP. And if I get my Stealth Rocks up against a Crocodile at some other point during the battle, I'm going to be feeling really good about that. That's fucking Assault Vest. Damn. All right. Well, that is not great. Not productive turn here. Not a productive turn, all things considered. But at this point now, I'm trying to think like what I want to do. So Blastoise, if he's doing... I'm trying to think like what like a Dark Pulse now does to my Sinistra. It does a decent amount. I don't get 2 KO'd. He might not predict me to go into that Pokemon at this point, but I'm not making good progress either. Yeah, I guess I'm not making good progress. I'll go into Sinistra because I can at least offensively pressure that Pokemon and gain some HP back, but yeah, this set is at least, because I clicked Draco and not Thunderbolt. If I was Thunderbolting, I'd be a little bit more happier to stay in, and he's just going to flip turn. Okay. So we get a little bit more information on this Pokemon. And I would say we've kind of gotten ourselves into this game a little bit, but alas, like we're not in the greatest of positions. We've taken a lot of damage on our Goodra early, which we didn't really want to. In comes the Moltres now, or in comes the Gligar. Interesting to bring the Gligar in at this point. Given the Tera now, or given like the typing, I definitely have to reconsider how I play this turn. He could Agility, he could SD, all valid options here for him. What is the problem? Is this is probably some acrobatics set. If I was Fairy, this was the one thing that moving to Bug I hadn't necessarily considered a lot. I really wanted my typing to not be weak to the Steel Gallade, which realistically is probably not the best option. I think that your likelihood of going for a water move is so low here that I think I can go into Talonflame safely on this turn. I think you realistically can't, right? And even if you do go for a Tera Blast Water on a following turn, and you're just gonna spike up here. Okay. So hazards are going to get up. We have a lot of Boots Pokemon on this team, but this looks to just be very much a defensive Pokemon. So we're good with that. The real thing I wanted to consider on this was to not get like a Mickey buy a setup set here. Was kind of the main consideration. And now I can go into something. I can like Willow this turn. Willow is probably kind of okay. Hurricane obviously does a little bit of damage. But if I can Willow and get this Pokemon down, then I think I'm okay with that. And he is just going to withdraw. He could go Moltres here. Although I'd obviously like to see something else. He's going to go into this Pokemon, so a little bit annoying because that Pokemon is already toxic. So this is unfortunately a wasted turn. But this Pokemon now comes out and has to do a little bit more on the battlefield. This Volt Switch is free. How do I play around this Volt Switch best? The one thing I have to be really mindful of is I have to keep my HP on some of these Pokemon relevant for the, what's it called? The Gallade. So Blastoise is taking a little bit of chip. Gligar's not taking. I probably should have U-turned there. U-turn would have given me a really beneficial turn there, I think. I could get aggressive and block the Volt Switch. But the thing is, that's just going to give me free. I mean, I'm just going to go into this. So I think I have to accept that Chople Berry is not happening this game. At this point, I just don't think it's realistic to see that coming, or for that to happen in this battle. And he's just going to knock off anyway. Oh, okay. So I guess it's really, really not happening now. And now this Pokemon is starting to take some chip, which is good. So the likely one of the two final remaining moves is definitely going to be that. What's it called? God, I can't even think of what I'm trying to say here. The grass move, right? The grass on or Giga Drain. I guess he could technically be either, whatever he felt more inclined to do. I feel like a hard out is coming here. I could like predict something with, like I could predict the Blastoise and just Thunderbolt, but I'm honestly just okay dropping a Draco here. Yeah, I probably should have Thunderbolted. But now that I know that this is Assault Vest, that's good chip for me. And now I do have Body Press on this Blastoise. The problem is this is not doing a lot to the Blastoise. I'm pretty sure even at -2, I'm doing more with my other attacks, which is like pretty funny. But this Pokemon is running really low in utility now, so I think my best bet is honestly just to Thunderbolt. Try to get as much damage off on this Pokemon as possible. And he's just going to flip turn out, okay. So we'll see what he goes into. Interesting turn. He might, I don't know what he would predict here. Draco technically is a little bit better if he goes Crocodile. Yeah, if he goes Crocodile, I guess I get a little bit of chip. I also consider body pressing man the turn. If I body press and caught him on that turn, like, maybe a little bit of regret going for that move instead, right? Because if I go body press, this thing is like basically dead now, right? We'll just go into this Pokemon. So yeah, a little bit of regret on that turn, but I think that play opens up. We've conditioned that play, so that play comes back to us later in the battle, which is good to see. Spike, this is gonna, with Earthquake, I think I'm into a KO range. Yeah, I am. Or no, I'm not. Not with the stamina, at least. Which is good. The question is, do I get up my rocks? I'm gonna have spikes later, which is nice. So I think what I want to do here, honestly, is just body press. Either deal a million damage to this Pokemon, or kill like an incoming Blastoise. Gligar could come back in. Is like a possibility. What Gligar hurts against in this spot is I lose a little bit of my utility to use what's its face. The Monkey Door later in the battle. But it looks like I'm going to get a body press off. No! Blastoise actually lived. What a bitch. What a lucky Pokemon here. Actually living. That is super, super troll. Super toxic. Okay. What's the last move? Dark Pulse. I mean, Dark Pulse has to kill this, right? Like, there's no way it doesn't. What utility does this Pokemon have left besides giving me this free switch? He's going to flip turn. So, all right. What's the play? What's flip turn do? Like, if I just, like, sack this off and, like, high roll on, like, a flip turn. Yeah, I mean, I could sack this off and high roll flip turn, right? Yeah, I mean, I might as well try to sack. Yeah, I might as well just sack this off, I think. And high roll on a flip turn. Get a body press off. He's just gonna surf. Okay, we know the four moves. I mean, I could have made a play there, right? Like, there's opportunity to do something, but yeah, I don't know. I think none of them present like a super convincing argument to me, especially where I can go into Talonflame and U-turn on this Pokemon for free and get myself a kill. So we didn't end up with rocks. which is obviously not perfect. We can get up our spikes later, but we know this Pokemon outspeeds. We don't have to sack any damage on Monkey Dory, and we get a free U-turn to reposition ourselves in if he wants to sack this Pokemon off. Now we do have to reveal what we want to go into next, which is a little annoying, and he is going to swap out, so he'll save this as a sack for later in the game. So this is honestly maybe even a little bit better for me, as he just wants to go into effort the, what's it called? The Electros, which I'm going to take a little bit of Rocky Helmet, but this Pokemon is really here for that speed aspect in this battle. And I think now, I think I can still go into my Hisuian Gudra and fire off a Draco Meteor. What I envision happening this turn, right, is I should be able to live every hit here. I think it would be ridiculous if it didn't. At the worst case, it takes more toxic damage, right? So if I drop a Draco, right, and then I can body press the... Yeah, he's going to withdraw. He's going to sack Blastoise here, like assuredly, right? There's no way you don't sack Blastoise here. Yeah, there you go. Goodbye, Blastoise. I mean, this has to hit, right? This would be Troll if it didn't hit. Okay, perfect. And I think he goes Crocodile here. I think he goes Crocodile and tries to and get up to Stealth Rocks. If I had to guess, right, like that seems to be the most logical play here for him to make. He could be Choice Scarf Crook as well, which is a possibility. But if I see Moxie, then like my inclination is to just go into Sinistcha and deal with it that way. So I'm just gonna body press this. He's just gonna Earthquake. Okay. So I tried to get him on that one. Didn't happen. But this to me is now screaming Choice Scarf, especially with the Moxie. Like this is Scarf Crook. Like this is an OG Albino moment, if I have ever seen one. And now what to do here? Choice Scarf opens up some interesting situations, right? Because I can go into... The problem is this Moltres, we're running out of ways to answer this Moltres effectively now without the Gudra and such. Luckily, the Monkey Dory at least gives us a little bit in terms of that, right? Like if I go into Monkey Dory, it does have like some 2 KO potential. Which is nice, but I'm obviously not going to go into that now. I honestly think I just want to go into the Talonflame, and I think, you know, I'm going to go Sinistcha, actually. I'm going to go Sinistcha. Because, like, if we look at Sinistcha versus Moltres, right? Shadow Ball is such a good click here. Or I can Calm Mind is a great click. On this turn versus Moltres. And I consider myself still to be in a pretty good position. I think I have to bug Tera if I do this, just to play around a random potential of like random Mickey potential here. Though I think the Tera actually doesn't matter. Or me going for it. It doesn't actually change anything. So he is the expected set on Fly. There we go. But Calm Mind will be good here. Because I'm starting to move into a position where I'm opening up my end game here a little bit. Now, Bug Tera is, look, it's not perfect, right? Like, it's obviously not really going to be the most beneficial thing for me here. I mean, he could be Modest Max Attack, though I expect it to be more of a defensive set this week. And he has to hit a Hurricane for this to benefit him. And if I hit him with the +1 Shadow Ball, he's going to be in a position where... So I should live this in pretty much most instances. Yeah, I will live that. And I will be able to get off a very, very powerful Shadow Ball here. So that's really, really good for me. I think... What is my actual win condition here in this battle? Is kind of the problem I'm running into, right? Is I'm in a position where I'm starting to run low on that. Given how much damage that did, what is my Monkey Dory doing? Monkey Dory should have a chance to kill here now, or should kill here after the fact. I think I have to get rid of... I think I go into the Frostlass, actually. Yeah, I think I want to preserve this. Yeah, I think I just want to go Frostlass and preserve this. He could randomly Flamethrower, which would be annoying, of course. And I just lose this Pokemon for free. That's probably what he's going to do. But I think that's actually fine for me at the end of the day. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that. Sack this Pokemon off. And we have to go Monkey Dory for free. Not obviously the sequence we want to take in this spot, but one that we'll have to accept, right? Psychic, in theory, could put this in range. But Monkey Dory, this should be now in range of Monkey Dory pretty much every time. Psychic here, I think I'm just going to Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave, just keep it safe. I think it's likely he sacks us or he goes into a Pokemon like the Gligar. Kite. Yeah, this is the Gligar. Yeah, I guess I would have liked to have Psychic. I probably should have Psychic there. Because I can't poison this thing, obviously. But I can just go back into this now. And he's going to get the rest of his hazards, but I think we're... Yeah, I'm trying to think through this one a little bit. I think not having the fairy is kind of a problem here. I really want to see the flame body proc on this, actually. It won't happen, though. Will not happen. And I think this is going to be a pretty convincing loss. I guess this comes out. I mean, I feel like we can't roost on this is the problem. I don't have roost. But like, what damage are we actually even doing to Electros here? Not a lot, right? Like, he's gonna Volt Switch. I have to stay in, right? Like, there's no benefit to me not staying in here. I mean, I'm gonna live this, right? So I'm gonna just get a Flamethrower off. Get random crit. I mean, random crit would have obviously been super nice here, and I do live this, so yeah. Okay. So that Pokemon's kind of dealt with. He's kind of waffling a little bit here, but he does have, like, if he goes Crocodile, he does have to risk Burn, and he is going to go into this Pokemon here. Okay. So this is a little bit of a shy spot, but I think we might as well just go for the Will-O-Wisp here. I think it's our best scenario to actually get through this game, is if we go for the Willow. We still have, like, we still have to obviously get beneficial turns here from the rest of our team, right? But I think what's really going to cost me is that Bug Tera. I was really poor into the Moltres, all things considered. I probably should have kept the Fairy Tera. This is going to be Choice Scarfed as well. So hopefully we get a Burn here. Burn here would be game-changing, but it looks like... I don't think this makes contact, though. Yeah, it doesn't make contact. So I think we're going to end up losing this game. Yeah, I think what I should have done is kept the Fairy. I was really concerned with the Gallade set that we had tested with. And made kind of a pretty probably bad Tera type change at the end. Really left myself weak to the Moltres. When, like, that set could have realistically, like, really pushed through this game at the end. I guess I'm trying to think of, like, is there any realistic scenario where I get myself out of this? If I go to Gallade, and it is Psychic, and it Terras, I mean, the U-turn does a lot, so I might as well just go for it, I guess. I know I'm Choice Scarf, I know I have speed, so that'll be fine for me at least. But this doesn't actually give me anything, so I guess if I poison this, it'll be pretty fine, but otherwise I think we're in a pretty bad spot. Yeah, and it looks like it'll be the end. So I think, honestly, the mistake there, it's the Tera type. Sinish's Tera type was so tough to nail down this game, and I probably, you know, I should have kept the Fairy like I had it. It just made the most sense for this battle. But I put myself in a situation where I was really concerned with Gallade, and for good reason, right? Gallade was really good in this battle, but I left myself vulnerable in a sequence there where I could have picked up a few more kills if I kept my initial Tera typing. So hey, this is kind of part of the reason we haven't done well this season, right? Is I think this team has had so many instances, and I played so many instances where I just don't give myself just the exact right amount of resource. I could have Focus Blast here if I was Aura. Dude, if I Focus Blast here and got the Crook, I would have looked like a goat here, but... oh, he's just going to go into this to preserve differential. Fair enough. Yeah, good on Owen to do that, recognize that situation for him. Also get a Gligar kill, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Mistake on that part. As I said, hopefully you guys are at least enjoying the Frost Battle League run. We're going to have playoffs for that coming when they are done. So that'll be we'll probably have like a month until the next video of that. So you'll see me winning a draft league again soon. Fairy, as I said, should have been the typing, but hey, you can't live in retrospect, right? Like you're gonna beat yourself up over that every single time. that is all I have for today's video. Tough loss against Owen. 2 tough losses back to back. We play against Tony to end the LTM next week, which should hopefully be very fun. And then we got a really cool draft project, a few draft projects coming up after that, which I hope you guys are excited for, because I'm excited to get back to winning, and I'm excited to do that with a clean slate. So if you guys enjoyed the battle, make sure to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and we'll see you all next time.